I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Yes or no? Did you ever take banned substances to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
I had no prior knowledge of the planned assault on Nancy Kerrigan.
I am deeply sorry for my irresponsible and selfish behavior I engaged in.
All right, listen up, guys. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah.
Dude, deep breath. That's unbelievable.
Did I breathe?
You did a deep breath like you were about to get into it, and I loved it. Sorry, go for it.
All right. Hope you had a Merry Christmas. I hope Hanukkah's fun. And I have a poem that I want to share with you right now that I just wrote. Put your phone down, babe. Help me decorate the tree. Put your phone down, daddy. Santa ate the cookie. Put your phone down, bro. Listen up, I'd like to make a toast. Put your phone down, son. You have to listen to me quick. There's no time for questions. Just get in the fucking garage. Okay, start the car and drive. We need to go to the Connecticut River and drop this bag off. Your mother isn't really your mother. I knew this day would come, but not like this. We need to dump her body. No questions right now. Stop crying. Stop crying on me. She's from outer space. She's not real. The medicine stopped working, and I had to choke her out with your iron, Jim, because she tried eating your sister. Yeah. Yeah.
In what world is that a poem? I loved it, though.
It was a poem for a little bit.
I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it.
Did you like the Tarantino twist?
It was very good. Very good Tarantino twist. I wish that was the twist at the end of Long Legs, in fact.
Yes, that would have been a nice twist.
Man, fucking A. Lynch.
I asked,
fucking A.
Giulio was in the other room. He was on his way in here, and I said, give me a random river. And he said the Connecticut River. And then Giulio said the Connecticut Giver. That sounds like a horny person.
I said more like the Connecticut Giver.
I'm the Connecticut Giver.
Connecticut Giver.
Yeah, hope the holidays are great. Welcome to the week of void.
Yes, the Void Week.
You're now officially in Void Week.
Fall in
between
the
now
void.
and New Year's.
It will fall in the void. Yeah, you like Kid Cudi, Lynch?
Don't know that one.
I don't know that one. Dude, question for you. Has anyone ever gotten a job from responding to one of those texts about working remotely for $300 a day? Has anyone ever replied and then gotten a job? Does that scenario exist?
I don't think so, Giulio. One of those things. I think there's a 0% success rate that text is not too good to be true.
Yeah.
And you are giving up very valuable information about.
No, it is too good to be true.
There's no chance that it's not too good to be true.
Got it.
You're giving away your social security number if you click that link.
Got it.
You're giving away your social. Why'd you get a text like that?
I get them all the time.
Yeah.
I get DMs, and I also get like messages being like, "Hey, cool page," which is supposed to get you to think it's a real person. And then it's like, we work with tons of companies to make your promotion. And those must just all be like click factories.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. A lot of them are in India.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. They'll be like, I was checking out your profile and your work with.
That's great. Oh, yeah.
With. And then they'll forget insert name of brand.
Yeah. Or like episode 545. What the hell, man?
That was crazy. It was
a great
funny
episode.
and insightful.
Yeah.
I'd love the opportunity to work with you. Have you considered growing your accounts? We can grow them by so much. Click on this UPS link. I was in the car.
Click on this UPS
Click on this UPS link. I was in the car. My mom's
So
like,
real.
oh, I hear every single text message goes off. Ding. Everything. It's great. It's great. Love it. And she's like, oh, a message from UPS. And I was like, no. Have you seen
Did you stop her?
I was able to stop her. I was like, don't. Just don't. If you think,
Yeah, your
don't.
invoice is attached.
Stop thinking.
What?
Just don't. Your invoice. I didn't buy anything.
Yeah.
No.
I called the number and they said, it's so sad. So predatory. There's apparently a new scam where like, they're just you.
Oh yeah.
They're just you now.
Yep. My grandmother gets that phone call.
Yeah, bro.
The niece or nephew, they're in jail.
Yeah.
AI. Grandma, I don't want mom and dad to find out. Can you just bail me out?
We're very AIable. There's like there's thousands of hours of us chit-chat.
Oh yeah. Very AIable. My buddy's cousin fell for it, and she's like somewhere between our age. She's like in her 30s, and she fell for it. What an idiot! And she lost.
hate to see it.
She lost over $3,000.
She lost it all.
She lost it.
She lost it all.
She lost.
She lost.
She fucking
She
lost.
fucking lost. Well, dude, so I have good news for us, for everyone.
Ooh.
And also potentially bad news for you right now.
Sweet.
Bad Bunny dropped a new music video, and now I'm going to force you to watch it. And then we're going to talk about it.
Okay.
It's good. It's a good enough video that it warrants this.
That's valid.
I watched this and I was fucking blown away. Now, granted, I watched it at that time. You know how there's like a specific time of day where like you're way more likely to react really positively to something?
Yeah.
For me, it's when I have a fresh brain. If I wake up and I don't even have to have had a good night's sleep. I'm up, I'm at it, and I throw on a thing. There's the chance. So when I listened to the song, first of all, I got that like first listen, oh my God feeling. It wasn't like, oh, it didn't take me a second to get used to it, and then I loved it. It had just come out. I listened to it. I absolutely loved it. And then I watched the video, and I was fucking blown away. And I absolutely loved it. And I haven't had this feeling in a while. Now, I love this guy's music. It's amazing. But the last time I had this feeling from his music video was the Where She Goes music video, which you guys might famously remember. I attempted to buy the sunglasses that he wore in the video. They were $800. I then returned them, and I also found out later that the real glasses weren't even the ones that I bought. They were ones that were $2,000. So glad I didn't keep them. But anyway, this is the video.
That's what it feels like putting my phone in the bedroom, hanging out with Victoria for an hour in the living room.
That's good. All right, that's it.
That's it?
That's it, Lynch.
So will we ever know what's in the box?
No, but I suspect that. So I showed it to Zach Ray, who is the guy who travels with me in films. He had a couple interesting observations that I didn't notice. He's like, it's a crazy and awesome move to have the whole video take place within the frame and then go outside of the frame midway through the video, which I was like, oh, that is sick. A couple things that I thought were sick other than the entire vibe. First of all, turning into your girlfriend in the middle of your dream sequence I've never seen. Also, making out with yourself in a dream sequence I've never seen.
Yeah.
Two sick things.
You don't need a dream to do that. You just need a mirror.
Okay, point taken, Lynch.
Very cool, though.
But yeah, dude. So anyway, I dug that. Check that out if you're into music videos, as you know that I am. That's a hot one.
That's an exciting. That was a very cool video. The song also, the first part, I really was digging the beat or the melody behind it. It felt like it was 3 different songs split up. And that's kind of where I wish that you would be able to get radio edits, or you could get the first part on its own and listen to it.
Right, like a Travis Scott and Drake situation. Out like a light.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to like, that first song and the last song I would like, or the middle, each of them I would want to work out to, but individually.
Right.
So I wish there was a version of that where it wasn't like 3 different songs in one.
Totally.
But it was a cool video, and the AI thing, everyone's really leaning into it.
I know.
It's kind of shamelessly leaning into it, and they make some pretty cool stuff. The thing that stuck out to me was the cow on the wing of the airplane.
Yeah. I was sick too.
Yeah.
Well, dude, one thing I think is cool about Bad Bunny, and this is a thing that like other people in that genre have tried to replicate fairly unsuccessfully, if you ask me. He's been good at like sampling other genres and sort of like doing a song that's like a different kind of song than he would normally do and doing it extremely well. So like he'll always have a track like that, at least, that'll really surprise you. And like this was a great example. Like he's never done like a club banger. There's one, but it was like a slightly different style. It was more of like an anthem. This is more of like a house kind of beat, which he's never done. And to me, it's super sick. And all these other guys and girls try to do it, and they just don't pull it off. Like you can tell he's just like has very good taste, and he's very creative. So like the other thing that's cool, a lot of the times his albums will sort of, especially recently, will have sort of like a theme. And, you know, it's not such a strict theme that like it makes it into one specific kind of thing. Like there's room for like the things that everybody wants to be in there, but it's interesting the way he like pulls it back. The first song he did post album was a song called Una Velita. And it had this very like mountain man, ayahuasca spiritual vibe to it. And this had that too in that last piece with that last scene where they're doing the burial thing. So anyway, whatever he's got up his sleeve, I'm stoked for it. He appears to still be in his prime, and I'm looking forward to whatever he has to do next.
Where were you when you saw the music video?
I was on the train. I was on the 7 train,
Okay.
and I was really into it.
Did you lose any of it with like the signal? Were you able to watch the whole thing, or as much of it?
So the 7 train, at least in this particular area where I was getting it, was outside.
Okay.
So I had time to watch the entire thing, and I was thinking about that, and the thing had loaded enough that I was confident that even if we were to go underground, I would have enough service to go through it, which ended up being true.
Now, Julia, did the music video give you goosebumps?
Yes, gave me goosebumps, chills, and nearly made me emotional.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed it.
that's the goosebumps. That's the indicator right there.
Every time you.
I don't know about you guys, but I just wrapped up Christmas shopping and my wallet is very tired. I'm actually afraid to go near it because it's so irritable. Every time I touch it, it's like, please leave me alone. Please leave me alone. But now it's the new year. I'm trying to get into shape and trying to get back into my routines, and I need to buy stuff. We have to buy stuff. It's not like you can just take a break after overspending in December. You need to buy stuff. And one thing that I'm focused on with a wedding coming up, with a bachelor party coming up, trying to look my best, is getting my supplements. But they're expensive. And you go into stores and they're always marked up and the prices are just insane. And my wallet is not looking forward to contributing towards that. And that's why I'm really excited that we partnered up with Live Good. Live Good believes that everyone deserves access to high quality supplements without the insane markups. I believe that too. They offer premium products formulated by an industry-leading team of natural health experts, and they cut out the middleman to sell them at the lowest prices possible. I can't wait for my package to come in. I'm looking forward to getting a bottle of the Ultra Magnesium Complex, some CBD oil, and of course, some organic plant-based protein. You know I'm on that big boy crush, baby, without that dairy. That's how we do it. But if you're into whey, there's no way that's gonna be a problem because they got that type of isolate protein as well. Okay, they have everything you need: organic super greens, multivitamins, weight loss products, creatine, I need that, detox, skincare products, all of the highest quality products at prices people can actually afford. So if you're ready to make a switch and start saving, we'll make it even easier for you. Use our link and you can save an additional 10% off your first order on top of the already lowest prices. Just go to livegood.com/oops to save 10% on your first order. That's livegood.com/oops. Don't miss out on this opportunity to invest in your health without overspending.
Well, bro, hold on. So not to completely pivot and change gears here, but I do have a fun story that I left out, which is probably the funniest story of the Turks and Caicos trip. So tell me what you do in this situation. So Hunter is Hillary's sister's boyfriend. We went on this walk to this sinkhole, which I think I mentioned. Mm-hmm. Super cool, deep sinkhole. He was sort of peering over like a loony. I kept my distance a bit more. And then we walked back, and it had rained heavily the day before. So there were some areas that were like kind of flooded. On the way there, this particular sort of area, we were able to kind of leap over because of the way it was sort of arranged. Let's just say that it was like gravel, and then you jump onto a rock, and then from the rock, you can sort of basically clear the water. But coming back, the space between the rock and the water made doing that initial jump onto the rock ever so slightly perilous.
Okay.
Now, I would have eventually jumped and done the jump. That was probably, I don't know that there was another way to do it. That's probably what I would have ended up doing. So we reached this crossing again. And Hunter, who is kind of good at this stuff, for lack of a better term, or for lack of a better description, I'm sorry. He looks at it. He sort of takes this big leap onto the rock. And although this rock is slippery and there's this risk of sort of slipping and then falling in the water, which is deep enough that your whole body would be wet. And if you were to just step in it, you'd probably be up to your ankle. So it's not going to ruin your life, but not ideal. And we probably had another 10 minutes left in the walk, so you don't want to be soaked for it. He jumps, he successfully kind of lands on the rock and then jumps to safety. As I'm sitting, approaching how I'm going to do this, a truck pulls up and he rolls down the window. He goes, "Do you want to ride across?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Okay, hop in the back." And I go, "Okay." Now this dude's driving a pickup truck. He goes, "Hop in the back." What would you do in that situation? There's a back seat. So 4-door truck, front seat, back seat. He said hop in, but did that. So he actually didn't even say hop in the back. He goes, hop in.
Mm-hmm.
What would you do?
How long would the drive have been?
2 seconds, literally 2 seconds. Literal 1-2 drive over.
and you believed that he knew exactly where you were trying to go?
So, he knew exactly where I was going,
Yeah.
but he directed me where to go. And some question came up as to whether or not I misinterpreted that. And we'll never know, but it's seeming as if there is one potentially correct opinion on this.
Okay. So knowing that you're bringing it to me, I have to pretend like I can't analyze it. I would have said yes.
Well, it's not about saying yes or not saying yes. It's about where do you go when you say yes.
I would have gotten in the bed of the truck.
Okay.
Because if it's 2 seconds, I just would have hopped in, hopped out.
Right.
Getting in the car is scary.
Okay.
He could take you.
Interesting. Okay. So that's...
You're not concerned about being taken ever.
Oh, well, in theory, there's a scenario where I would be concerned, but this is in the middle of daylight. We are lit right next to all these hotels. We're on the road that leads directly to the hotel. It's broad daylight. There's tons of people around. Being taken was not much of a concern, but I hear you. If I were to have said that there would have been no thought in your mind about being taken, what would you have done?
Bed of the truck.
So in the bed of the truck, no matter what.
Yeah.
So this is what I did. I went to get in the front seat and the door was closed and he goes, no, the back. And I said, okay. So then I opened the back door. I got in the back door. We drove across. I went to open the back door. He goes, no, you have to open it from the outside. I go, okay, no problem. I reach out the window. I open it. I get out of the car. When I get out of the car, Hunter cannot believe that I did not jump in the bed of the truck. And he said he wanted you to jump in the bed of the truck. Seems like he may have been right.
Yeah, it's a little silly. It's a little silly that you went into the back seat of the car.
Is it very city slicker of me? I mean, I grew up in the forest. Like I should know better.
Yeah.
I walked barefoot on gravel as a child. I mean, it was uncomfortable for me. And my friends were able to do it somehow without any discomfort whatsoever.
I mean, just if safety wasn't a concern, that's pretty cool jumping in and out of the bed of a truck.
Agreed.
I would have loved to do that. There's too many doors. You touch too much stuff.
Yeah.
You're a stranger to this guy. How'd you feel after he said that to you, after he said you should have just went in the bed of the truck?
I was embarrassed because I realized he was probably right.
Yeah. Did it hold water for the rest of the day?
Of course not. And he was only sort of busting my chops in a playful and completely acceptable way, as two bros would fraternize. And it was a fun moment for us. And that was sort of it, Lynch.
Nice.
But I would have liked to think that I had better instincts on the fly. But listen, I am who I am. And I am apparently a guy who gets in the car instead of on the car. And I mean, we all know apparently I'm particular about the capacity in a vehicle at any given time. So
yeah, you're very car focused, car centric,
car aware.
You're cartistic.
No, let's get back to the calendar.
Those that live do not die until the day that they stop living. Yeah. You're not hurting anybody.
Yeah, dude. 100%. So anyway, I guess we survived, and it just is what it is, and that's about that.
I was gonna ask the greatest Christmas gift you've ever received.
Wow. The greatest Christmas gift I've ever received. Okay, so all things considered, I would say that the greatest Christmas gift that I ever got was Sega Genesis with Sonic 2.
That's the one. It's like dun 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 dun. And scene. Yeah.
Sonic 2, great game, great time. That was it for me. What about you?
My greatest gift was probably they're both video game based because that's just such a boy thing.
Isn't that funny?
I think so. My second place would be when I got an iPod Nano. in 2004.
Ooh, that's a good one.
It was my first MP3 player.
And you were how old?
I was in 4th grade, so I must have been around 11. I was an 11-year-old boy.
All right.
And I was a good boy. I knew it was within Santa's budget. And
Good old Santa's budget.
that Christmas Eve, I knock on my parents' room around 1 a.m, and I'm like, there's blue spots all over my legs. And they were like, no. And then I was like, yeah. And so they checked me out, and I had blue spots all over my legs, and it was like really concerning. I was confused because I was fine that day, but I literally had like chicken pox spots on my body.
Are chicken pox spots blue?
They weren't chicken pox, but they were. I'm just painting
But are
the picture.
chicken pox blue?
I thought they're red.
Or do they start as blue and become red? I think you're right. I think they're red, but okay.
Yeah, I already had the chicken pox. So, but I said, I was like, I was like also very like aware of the situation. I was like, I know this is weird, but I have blue spot. You have to see, and went to the ER just to be safe. So go to the ER. We get there around like 1:45
PM?
a.m.
Oh God.
on Christmas.
Oh, not Christmas Eve, Christmas Day?
Well, now it's technically Christmas Day.
Oh
It's
shit.
the eve of Christmas,
Oh my God.
and I noticed that the gifts were not under the tree as we were leaving the house. So I was like freaking out. I was like, Santa's not gonna think I'm home.
Fuck, Santa thinks I'm sickly.
Santa thinks I'm gonna I didn't know what was up. Long story short, we're chilling in the hospital.
Santa knows I'm gonna die.
We're chilling. He's like, I'm gonna give the DS to like a less fortunate kid because
yeah.
Ryan doesn't need it. He's gonna be in a casket.
You're a present donor.
I'm a present donor. It's on my little student ID, and we're in the hospital, and the doctor comes in. He's like, "All right, we're gonna run some tests. It's either going to be everything's fine, and you just had some weird skin reaction to something, or we'll have mom, dad will have to talk."
Oh my God.
And it was like, my parents later told me that they forget the details, but they remember being very nervous about it being the second thing.
Sounds bad.
There was concern in the doctor's voice, even as an 11-year-old. Again, I'm very aware that like my parents want to be asleep. Santa's coming. They want to be home for him and everything. I still believed. This is my last year of believing. And I remember we were there for another hour. And ended up being the first thing. I was fine. They put me on some steroids, and which was just super weird, just to have blue spots, and I didn't know why. And then they went away. I must have been very stressed about what color iPod Nano I'd get. And I asked my mom while I was in the hospital bed. I was like, "Mom, do you think Santa's gonna come by the house? I'm gonna have a good Christmas?" And she's like, "Yeah, Ryan, I think so. I think everything's going to be okay." Because also she's a little emotional thinking about the possibility of something serious almost
You
becoming.
might not make it home for Christmas.
I know. And I was just like, yeah, I really hope I get an iPod Nano. And I'm sitting there with and she's like, I think you're going to be very happy this year. And then I was like, oh. And then I go home and went to bed around like 3:30 in the morning, woke up, and Santa Claus came and he got me my iPod Nano.
Nice.
And that was very nice.
Worked out. Well, I was picturing a scenario where your parent, he's like, Mr. and Mrs. Lynch, step out of the room. He's like, Ryan, I'm going to ask you once. You got to be honest with me. Did you eat Rudolph's carrots? There's been a recall.
That would be fun. That would have been fun. That's a reason to be a doctor.
That is fun to like bake in Santa lore to your job as like as a objective third party professional is really high level stuff.
That would have made his day.
That would have extended your belief period.
Oh, 100%.
Do you remember how you figured out that Santa? Spoiler alert! Here we're gonna have some Christmas.
We'll do it at
some
the top.
Christmas stuff coming out.
Spoiler alert. If there are any children under the ages of 12 in your vehicle or near your speaker system right now, please skip.
Christmas spoilers. Okay.
I think it was the next year. I was playing hide and seek with my friend Andrew, and we're playing hide and seek, 5th grade style. And we had a bathroom in the basement that was closed off because it was being renovated. And I checked in that room. My mom was like, never go in that room for whatever reason. It was closed for like a year. So the rules, I didn't think that it was, I didn't think like, oh, this is like, they've closed it for a whole year because maybe they'd hide presents in there if they were Santa Claus. Mm-hmm. I open up the door. There's gifts underneath sheets, and they all say to Ryan from Santa Claus in Santa Claus's signature that I grew accustomed to knowing. And I ended up, of course, like any kid, later that week, every night going down and investigating each box and seeing which one was the Wii, because it's 2006. There was one box that was almost the shape of the Wii, but I went on the family computer and looked at the dimensions, and then I literally measured out the boxes. I was like, this isn't a Wii. And I didn't get a Wii that Christmas. They were very hard to get.
Interesting.
They're very hard to get, and so I stopped believing.
Interesting. But only because you didn't get the Wii? Because to me, it's like, in a way, your parents could have been like, well, Santa, how Santa typically does it, sometimes he will send the gifts earlier if his route is too crazy and the weather was weird, if the weather was patterns were going to be weird. Like, did you have a discussion and you're like, so Mom and Dad, where were you on December 17th around 5 p.m.?
No.
So you just stopped believing.
I just stopped believing.
Oh, it was a combination of these couple things?
I think, well, no, the Wii thing was just me being, I guess, a little brat. Just like, am I getting a Wii? Am I getting a Wii? But when I saw the signature from Santa to Ryan from Santa Claus, and it was the same handwriting as the way it's been always, I was like, okay, Santa doesn't come yet. Santa comes on the 25th.
Right.
So why would he drop the presents off early?
Right.
That makes things muddy.
Got it. Yeah.
So I kept that to myself for a whole week. That was tough. I kept that to myself. That was traumatic.
You pretended. They're like, Santa came. And you're like, yeah, he did.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is when you were in 5th grade?
Yeah, I was in 5th grade is when I officially
That's
stopped.
a pretty good length of Santa belief, especially in the modern age.
Yeah, I want to hear about yours, but Victoria, who I think is just, she was an adorable kid. She found out when she was like 9 because some asshole ruined it. 9? I hope my kids make it to 6. I feel like kindergarten. I feel like these days kindergarten is like the new 11, is the new 12.
Yeah, I mean, dude,
What about you?
There must have been kids who were running around saying Santa wasn't real. And I think I had like a real intellectual sort of thought process about it where I'm like, well, they are saying that, but I know that Santa is real. I believe.
Yeah.
Belief was important. So I was like, although, there are certain schools of thought out here that apparently believe that maybe Santa is not real, I know that he is. And so I think 4th grade was when I stopped believing. And it was a similar kind of thing. It was like logistics. Like I got a gift from Santa. It was a game called World Heroes. It was a sort of like Street Fighter style fight the other guy game for Sega Genesis. And the gift arrived in a box from the used video game store that was in Weathersfield, Connecticut called Funko Land. And I was like, Santa shops at Funko Land. Now look, there was the same opportunity for my parents to be like, well, yeah, you think Santa just has one core distribution center? Like, of course he sources these things from local shops. That's how he's able to sort of, you think Santa's traveling with all the gifts in the world in the same sleigh? You're wrong. So if that back and forth had come up, there is a chance that I would have maybe been like, oh, that checks out. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's probably around a healthy time. It reminds me, I remember when I was in like 2nd or 3rd grade, my friend Ryan, who was at my wedding, who you may have met.
We talked for a bit.
Great guy.
Yeah.
He had older brothers and sisters, so he had heard things that I would not have heard, that I was not privy to, being the oldest of my kin. And he was like, have you had sex before? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, oh my God, Giulio's had sex. And he was like running around saying Giulio's had sex. I'm like, yeah, I've had sex. I didn't know what sex was. And he's like,
Yeah.
and I don't think he did either. He's like, who'd you have sex with? I'm like, this girl, Andrea. He's like, oh yeah, Giulio had sex with Andrea. And then, yeah, I had sex, allegedly.
How old were you?
Probably 8. Probably 8.
And so what did you think you were saying when you didn't know what sex was, when you said that you did have sex with somebody? It sounds like you knew at least a little bit. It took 2 to tango.
I figured it was maybe kissing or like something like that.
Yeah.
I don't think I knew about what it entailed at all.
Mm.
And I wonder how unique or not that is. I know they eventually give you the sort of anatomy talk. I remember having that in 5th grade, and the teacher would give us this brochure. And at the beginning of the lecture, the teacher was like, all right, now take a look at all this. It's going to be funny to you. Laugh as much as you can and get it out of your system, and then we will continue. So we all looked and laughed. Ha ha, vagina, penis, ha 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 ha. Now, the only problem is when the laughter grace period had concluded, I had many laughs left, Lynch. This was just so funny to me. I was always looking at any opportunity to sort of peer up from my desk and look over the room at Nate Bergen. We would make eye contact and both start laughing incessantly and look back down and get in trouble constantly. So I was a big chuckler, giggler, troublemaker in that capacity. So I wasn't done.
Yeah.
It was really hard for me to hold it in. It was kind of like, you ever see the first Beavis and Butthead episode? Where like they say something and they're trying so hard not to laugh. They're like, and he's like, yeah, like, it's like butts. And they're like dude, it's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Beavis and Butthead, very underrated show. Some might argue it's appropriately rated, but I think it's underrated. But anyway, brilliant show. And anyway, that was me. I was laughing at everything.
Yeah.
That was me.
That's magical.
Magical.
And you had
indeed.
sex when you were 8.
I had sex when I was 8. May or may not have been true, but that is what Ryan believed at the time.
Damn.
Being the bold next door neighbor that he was.
Damn. Our elementary school, we had a big assembly because there was a wedding during recess. It was between Christine Lister and Cole Christian. They had a wedding on the playground underneath a certain area.
How old are you?
It was 3rd grade, so probably 8, right around when you first had sex. We were like in the playground and the whole class went under like this little jungle gym, and there was a real ceremony, and it was blessed via Webkin. Do you know what a Webkin is?
No.
Webkins was you would buy a doll. It was a little stuffed animal, dog, cat, turtle, whatever. It had a little code on it. You punch it on the computer, and then you have a little virtual version of that pet. And then you could play online. It was kind of like, I don't know, it was an internet game. And everyone had a Webkin, and the Webkin was the officiant. And some girl spoke as the Webkin.
Was that common for the Webkin to be an officiant, or could it just be whatever you wanted it to be?
This is the only wedding I ever attended at this point in time.
But was it common for people, was a Webkin one of the utilities of it that it could conduct some sort of wedding ceremony?
I don't know. It just was. A Webkin conducted the ceremony via somebody doing the voice behind it. And Cole and Christine, the Webkin was like, you may kiss the bride. They did a full ceremony. Hundreds of kids under a jungle gym. Imagine being the chaperone. Just like,
Kiss on the lips?
Yeah, kiss on the lips. I had a good view. But the chaperone, like, just imagine being the chaperone is like, oh, what the fuck are these, like this organized event that these little kids are doing.
So what chaperone though? Was it recess and the teacher was the
Yeah,
chaperone?
like these people. And so a teacher came and broke it up right after the kiss. And everyone was clapping after the kiss. It was actually really nice. Like, there wasn't any bullying. Like, it was very inclusive. Everybody was a part of it. And then we had a big assembly because you're not allowed to kiss at school. So
that reminds me of a couple things.
yeah.
The first thing that it reminds me of, in high school, at high school dances, like people would make out or like grind. And I remember teachers like breaking it up. And like, to me, that's so lame, dude. Like, even as an adult, like I don't give a fuck if these kids are making out. Like, good, make out, dude. This is like good. This is good for you. These should be doing that.
Better here.
Sure, that's part of it. I don't know if there's some conventional wisdom that says that it will progress back home more quickly if you allow them to do it here. But whatever, dude. Like, it's weird how there was this sort of like traditional whatever hanging over that, where like maybe the teachers who were chaperoning were told that they were supposed to break it up.
Yeah.
I remember one kid danced with, there was this older chick who was so hot. And I think her name was Kasha. And a friend of mine danced with her and he came in his pants. But it was sick that happened. And he was really brave to ask her. And after he was all like cool. He's like, yeah, I fucking dance with Kasha. Yeah, I fucking came in my pants.
Points down to his stain.
Yeah, I forget if he like admitted that right away. He may not have. So that's the first thing it reminds me of. The second thing it reminds me of, back to Ryan. Ryan was always sort of Mr. Loverboy. We've talked about this on the pod before where like he had his dance move that we were all blown away by. He had this girlfriend who's from West Hartford, who's super hot, and he the arm behind the body as he danced, and it was just really inspiring and sick. And we'd just watch him and be like, fucking Ryan.
Just mesmerized.
But it was always that way. In 4th grade, he had a girlfriend, Stephanie Spada. who is now married. I don't know her last name now, but they were boyfriend and girlfriend. That was a big deal. They were sort of the, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle of the class. For Christmas, she bought him the Usher CD. This was the original one that has "You Make Me Wanna Be the One With." He was like 15 or 16. So yeah, dude, Ryan, Mr. Loverboy, they exchanged gifts. It was a high profile thing in 4th grade. And then in 6th grade, I remember the last day of school, might have even been 7th grade. 5th grade. Ryan kissed, I believe it was the same girl, on the lips the last day of school. And I triumphantly walked into the parking lot holding my hands in the air. My dad's like, "What?" And I went, "Ryan made the move."
Yes, we've heard that one.
Ryan made the move.
That's a proud
I
moment.
love
for a
that that's the
friend.
one I'm repeating.
Yeah.
All right.
Memory lane.
Memory Lane, Oops the Podcast. Enjoy your holiday. See my schedule on my website. I got Anchorage. I got DC. I got Charlotte, Portsmouth, New Hampshire, Providence, Chicago. Come see a show. Oops the Podcast, oops-podcast@gmail.com. At Not Julio. Follow my YouTube channel, youtube.com/NotJulio. Follow us, Oops the Podcast YouTube channel. Lynchy.
Check me out at Ryan is Really Polite and leave in the comments section whether or not teachers or chaperones should get involved on grinding at school dances. Do you let that play out, or do you get in there and break that up? We want to know. Right in the comments. Oops the Podcast.
Thanks.